The first idea for Shazam was not innovative enough. So the first idea for Shazam, which was to identify songs in a mobile phone, started by thinking about what exists out there. What can we use to create such a service? And what existed out there was what's called radio recognition. That was a technology at the time that I came up with the idea for Shazam back in 2000. Radio recognition. And it was a simple technology, relatively simple, that monitored hundreds or even thousands of radio stations. And with that feed, we could have created a basic version of Shazam. And the way it would have worked is you would have pulled out your mobile phone, you would have said, I'm listening to this radio station by typing it in, and then we would have told you what's playing on the radio. If we had built that, we would have built a service that works, but can you imagine how it would look today? Do you think anyone would be using it? We would have been displaced. It would have been far too limited. It would have been a much easier thing to implement, but we would have failed. So we had to be more innovative. And not only did Shazam almost fail, but I almost failed. Because as a kid, I struggled with dyslexia. I still struggle with dyslexia. And so, for example, when I was in 5th grade, there were 60 kids, and the school I was at divided those kids into 2 classes, the smart class and the not-so-smart class. And so I was put in the not-so-smart class. Later, when I went to college, I was able to get into a great college, UC Berkeley, but my first semester, I got a 1.7 GPA, grade point average. They actually sent the letter not to me, but directly to my parents that said, your son will be kicked out of UC Berkeley if he doesn't get his grades up. So I almost failed out of college. And I have a 14-year-old son named Jude. He's also dyslexic. He just wrote an essay recently, and this is how he spelled entrepreneur. I love that. So creative. So I try to teach Jude how he can be a successful entrepreneur. And when I look back at my experience at Shazam, I was able to identify these 5 ways of thinking differently. And what's fascinating about them is that often they're not the default way of thinking. Often they're ways that you have to force yourself to think in order to lead to great outcomes, to innovative outcomes. Building from basic truths, applying creative persistence, picking your obsession, eliminating friction, and connecting to emotions. And that's what I'd like to talk about today.